Hi. Hello. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That young man out there is
Jim Johnston in Youngstown, Ohio.
Jim. Your neck is showing.
Yes, it is. Oh, excuse
Yeah,
me.
that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are very fortunate because we are going to taste and dissect. This is a classic legacy tequila, Corralejo. We've never had Corralejo on Sipping Off the Cuff in all the years that we've been doing the show. Um, I will say that it's been a long time since I've had Corralejo. While we pop this baby open, this is the Anejo version. Okay, it comes in red glass bottles. I'm sure you've seen these before out in the wild. They're everywhere. They have
The reposado is blue, correct?
the Reposado's blue. That's the one classic bottle you probably see all over Mexico. I had my first Corralejo back when I took a vacation to Cabo San Lucas. I thought the bottles were a little bit taller then, if you can believe that.
They had
Were,
to cut down. You told me they had to cut down the size of the bottle.
yeah, because it wouldn't fit on the second tier shelf. Uh, but that was on purpose. But when the quality of the Corralejo began to get questionable back in the day, they had to do something to stay on those shelves, and so they cut down the size of the bottle. But I'm gonna pour mine in a Glencairn, so we get the idea of what it looks like. I mean, the colored glasses are cool. They are classic colored glasses. Everybody likes them. They always have. Oh, that's pretty. Wow. And we're going to taste and dissect it, and then we'll give you all the stats and stories behind it. Um, that's a pretty color, man.
It really is. A little darker than I expected. I mean, it's an anejo, but it's got a whiskey coloration to it.
Yeah, it does. For those of you who are not familiar, this is coming out of the only distillery in Guanajuato, which is one of the 5 states where tequila can be produced and agave can be grown. Okay, so it is within the denomination of origin. It's famous. It's been there forever. Well, that's some pretty legs and tears on this too.
Yeah.
Some of you may have seen pictures. Some people have taken past tours, and you may have seen huge pictures of their. They're known for these enormous reposado tanks. The big wooden tanks are just enormous, full of reposado, which is why you probably see a lot of that blue bottle all over all of the vacation spots and tourist.
It's on every shelf in Ohio in the Mexican restaurants because this is a brand that's available here.
Oh yeah,
and it's on every shelf.
Yeah, it has huge distribution. I mean, you could get it anywhere. Okay, so here we are. Okay, well,
very alcohol forward.
Yeah, but in the center, I'm starting to get a lot more of the barrel. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't. They never sent us any information except for what's on the neck tag. So we'll make some assumptions and then we'll read the information that we get there.
It's got a very tannic barrel nose on it.
I noticed that it was a lot of wood and almost like a musty nose. Would you go as far as musty, or am I going a little too far?
And what I'm picking up off this barrel is that if it's a used barrel, which I'm assuming it is,
yes,
it's a lightly used barrel. This came from something that was not aged in that barrel for a long time because there's still that bright new oak on it that I don't get off of the other anejos we've tasted.
Okay. Yeah, there's
that barrel turns into a spice if you give that a good deep breath.
Yeah, it does. It's you're right. It's tannins and maybe some char. Am I getting a little char? Maybe that's what it is.
You probably are. And like we've talked about tequila being aged in bourbon barrels, this is a young whiskey, if it is, because that barrel still has a little bit of its virgin oak in there, less than what we get in the other ones.
All right. Well, I'm not exactly sure. Again, I'm going to read what little information on the neck tag, just to find out if they're virgin barrels, if they're used barrels. I'm going to assume that these are used, because that's generally what we
three types of oak barrels: French, American, and Encino. So they might not be used.
Let's see. Reposado and Anejo tequilas are gently aged in especially imported oak barrels.
Yeah, this also, I got the Reposado neck tag on the Anejo.
Okay, well, I have I have a neck tag that has just information on all three.
Mine does not expand. Mine is for the Reposado, but it does say French, American, and Encino. And French oak is not something that they use in bourbon at all. That is usually a virgin French oak when they do that. That's where that is coming from.
Well, the Corralejo, Reposado, and Anejo tequilas are gently aged in specially imported oak barrels. That's all I'm getting on this neck tag.
Okay.
So obviously we're getting different information from different neck tags at different stages of the life of this tequila. Okay.
Encino oak.
Encino is home oak, American oak.
From Encino, California?
No.
I was going to say this tree was right next to the 7-Eleven.
Encino just doesn't translate. It just translates to oak.
Okay.
Or holm oak, HOLM, which I've seen it as well.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's just try this. Let's taste it and see if it's worth a damn, huh?
There's a lot of retronasal. I'm getting it at the top of my palate. There's some spice on that.
Yeah. It's almost a hot cinnamon spice.
Yeah.
I'm very fond of this nose. Are you?
That hot cinnamon's coming through on the flavor. Now towards the back.
Yeah. I don't think we're reliving the jalapeno from the previous tasting that you and I did.
No, I'm getting too much of the barrel on the nose and the flavor.
Okay, I'm gonna pour some in the palm of my hand now that I've spilled everything else, and I'm gonna diffuse it, waving my hands around like I just don't care, Oh yeah, lots of barrel, lots of wood.
That oak is. That's got to be virgin oak, and I mean maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they'll correct us, but that's got to be virgin oak in that barrel.
Yeah, it's not. There's no. I'm not getting any whiskey. I'm not getting any real bourbon. I'm not even getting any French oak.
That's why I think that's a hot cinnamon flavor instead of a baked spice flavor that we typically get, because there's no char and age and whiskey in there to bring that into a baked kind of vanilla caramel spice. That is straight up oak coming through, and that tannin is going to impart that cinnamon flavor.
So, so basically, this thing tastes like I just dipped it in a 2x4. That's Corralejo, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you all the particulars and give you some stories, some background story. Okay, years and years ago, at its height of its popularity, this bottle was a lot taller, and the Reposado was prominent all over Mexico. I remember going vacationing in Cabo San Lucas and getting my bottle of Corralejo, and it was in Spanish, and on the neck tag that neck tag used to have a a way for people to do their own tequila tasting, so you could pull out the flavors and the nuances. As I became more and more educated in tequila and had a little bit more experience, I discovered that Corralejo, during the previous shortage, because right now we're in another shortage, but in the previous shortage, it was suspected. There had always been rumors about Corralejo getting using agave from outside the denomination of origin. The flavor profiles were very inconsistent. In other words, from sip to sip to sip, you would get it too hot. It would be too watery, very much like a mixto. Like
Yeah.
a Hornitos used to be that way, and that was popular back then. Hornitos and Jose Cuervo were neck and neck in mixtos, and
Yeah.
that's all we had. So that's where chilling your mixto came, because chilling it made it smoother. But even chilled, I gotta say, I've had Hornitos and I've had Corralejo was really inconsistent. From
The
sip to
heat is here. The heat is there on this flavor profile. It's much more of a cinnamon heat than an alcohol heat. There's no, but it is there.
right. Um, it's not a flavor profile that I enjoy. I mean, let's face it, Jim, you've been with us for a while now. You've had some good quality stuff. We've had some shitty stuff too, let's be honest.
We have.
This is the stuff that's available right now to the public in mass quantities all over, control states, and states like Texas and California. Yeah, they've been around forever. They have been. They've been around forever, but there's not a whole lot of quality there. And the last thing I'm going to say about this brand is that, and this is my first try of the Anejo. It used to be unobtainium. You couldn't find it. You couldn't get it. And it was
I
totally.
see the blue bottle literally everywhere.
Yeah. And again, they were known for these huge pine vats of that they would rest their reposado. That's what they were known for. They were, I think, one of the favorite brands to use a reposado, because just because it was a thing to do, and plus at that time, if I'm not mistaken, they used to grow their own agave as well. They probably still do. The last thing I'm going to say about this, I'm going to tell you what the gnome is. This is gnome. Gnome 1368. It's been there forever. I'm sure you people have seen it in every Mexican restaurant and everywhere else in the world. It is known from very reputable sources to have a diffuser on site. So what we have here is a really prime example, Jim. Jim didn't know this, by the way. It's not something.
I don't have the tequila underground network of spies and espionage types that you have out there. I just don't have that.
Well, it's not. You will. It's something that we'll be sharing here shortly as we roll out our consumer catador course that everybody will eventually be have available to them. This is the kind of stuff that they are supplying the shelves with, that they're making money hand over fist with. If it's done well, and there are some distilleries with diffusers that are doing proper barrel management. If it's done well, it's passable. It's okay. It's another. The CRT allows it. It is legal. It's just another style of tequila, ladies and gentlemen. But if you like biting into a 2x4, or maybe sensing something artificial, my hands are getting a little sticky. Not a whole lot, but it could be that there's some glycerin in there as well. But primarily, you and I were basically, it's like we spilled tequila alcohol on a pine board or something. You know what that smells like.
Yeah, there's a lot of the barrel that comes through on this flavor the whole way across. The nose, the flavor profile, it's really spicy, tannic wood flavor.
Yeah, it's very one-sided. There's not a whole lot of complexity going on with this tequila. But again, the average person probably doesn't know that. It's Corralejo. It's been around forever. But I don't know what the price points are on this thing anymore. It used to be way up there in the 70s and 80s per bottle. That's why I never bothered with it, because it was always out of my price range. And then it was hard to find, for the longest time. And then for a while, during the inconsistencies in the previous shortage, they even stopped making it for a while.
Yeah.
And, it had, because it's so far out there, it's been allowed to be autonomous for a long time, I think. But anyway, we beat this dead horse. We have another one that they sent us that Jim and I cannot do. They sent Los Arangos to us, which is also made out of the same distillery. You probably have seen this.
There's different colors on these bottles.
Yeah, the reason we can't do this tasting is because I don't have his expression. He doesn't have mine. So I will get back to those folks who supplied us with Los Arango. But I don't think there's anything much more to say, Jim. I mean, it's fairly one-sided. So that's our take on Corralejo Anejo. If you folks have had this before and maybe it's a go-to for you, great. Tell us how you feel about it. Tell us what you have pulled out about it. Tell us if you've noticed a drop in quality over the years. I think that's fair to say. Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, so that way every time we upload a video with Jim on it, you folks will know right away. That's our take on Corralejo. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That gentleman out there is
Jim Johnston in Youngstown, Ohio.
You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media. On all of our channels and networks, please subscribe wherever you listen to us on your podcasts. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.